Hello, everyone. I'm Frank, and welcome to episode 66 of Learn How to Sudoku, where we take very easy variant Sudoku puzzles and we break them down in detail so that you can learn how to Sudoku. Today's puzzle is called Y-numerals Level 5 by Burger Mason. And I've actually done this before or not this one before, but the Y-numerals before. And it's an interesting concept. Um, let's get to it. This is the very easy puzzle, Y-numerals level 5. And here are the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply, which means fill every row, column, and box with the digits 1 through 9 without repeats. A marked cell in column X indicates the column where X appears in the row. All columns follow this rule. Okay, so this is typically, I think it's called 1-5. I don't remember the rule name. It's just, I think it's called. It usually is for 1, 5, and 9 that this rule set. That's why this whole grid is red, because the red usually signifies that the number in the cage indicates where the column number has to appear. And it's usually for the columns 1, 5, and 9, right? So, for example, if this were, say, a 6, this is saying that for the column number, which is 1, that number has to be in the 6th column, right? In this row. So therefore, 1 would have to appear here. But if you had something similar, like say you had this be an 8, this is saying that for column 7, since it is in column 7, the 7 has to be in the 8th column if you look at it from left to right in the row. So this would have to be a 7 if this were 8. And it has some interesting properties to it, which I'm not sure if we want to get into, right? We don't want to get into that because that's part of solving. But basically, just know that for whatever number that's in a cell, so say this was a 9, this is saying that for the column number, this is column 5, and so again, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, column 6, column 7, column 8, and this is column 9. But for this cell specifically, it's saying in this row, the column number, which in this case is 5, has to be in a certain spot. And this is the 9th spot, right? Because this is the number 9. So this is saying for this column, which is 5, that number has to be in the 9th spot in this row, and that's looking from left to right. So this would have to be a 5 if this were a 9. I hope that was clear. I'm not sure if there's a better way I can use of explaining these things, but and that's how since everything in the grid is red, everything follows this rule set. So keep that in mind. Digits separated by a y sum to 15. So this is the y numerals, right? And it's okay. And it also digits separated by an x sum to 10, and digits separated by a v sum to 5. So y is essentially the equivalent of the v, but for the digits 6 through 9, right? And y is not common, which is why Burger Mason calls this puzzle y numerals, because x and v are very common rule sets that are used in variant Sudoku puzzles. So again, for the v's, they have to add up, the digits separated by them must add up to 5. So for example, if this was a 4, this would have to be 1 to add up to 5 here. And x's, for x's, you have to, if one of them was, if this was, say, a 2, this would have to be 8 because the digits between x's must sum to 10. Now, this is a very common rule set, so this is probably the more important rule set to sort of keep in mind. But in these specific puzzles, which are specifically called Y-numerals, Berger-Mason has essentially added a different two-digit sum, which is 15. So, and as an example, if this was 6, this would have to be 9, because those two digits must add up to 15 here. And it follows a similar rule set. If you think about it, it's basically like the V version of the 6 through 9 digits, right? Because it has to add up to 15, and you can only have 4 digits that add up to 15. That's sort of a hint there, I guess. And those are all the rules. If you like to play along, there's going to be a link in the description. And now I'm going to get started. So let's learn how to Sudoku. Okay, so what I like doing actually in typical X and V puzzles is mark which ones have to be 1 through 4 and which ones have to be 6 through 9. And we know, particularly with the V's, what the 1 through 4s have to be. So these are 1 through 4, these are 1 through 4, these are 1 through 4, this is 1 through 4, 1 through 4 here, 1 through 4 here, and these are 1 through 4. Now, to add up to 10, if a 1 through 4 is on one side, the other side has to be a 6 through 9, right? 1 adds up with 9 to add up to 10, 2 adds up with 8, 3 adds up with 7, 4 adds up with 6. So you'll always have to have 6 through 9 here. And this has to be 6 through 9. So let's mark all the y's then 6 through 9, and all the x's that have a 1 through 4 next to them. So this is 6 through 9, these are 6 through 9, these are 6 through 9, and those are the only ones we really know. Okay. Well, where else do we know? So, if this were either, where should we attack this next? So, we know these two digits add up to 5. Therefore, let's mark them. Unfortunately, red is always taken. So let's mark them as orange here. These two digits add up to 5, and this one can never be part of this set. So it has to be a different set, right? If this is 1, 4, then these two digits would have to be 2 and 3, right? So all 3 of these digits are in a different set. And in fact, let's mark these as specifically distinct digits. So make this yellow, we'll make this actually orange. It's kind of hard to see. We're going to make this green and pink. This digit then has to be the yellow to add up to 5, because those are the only two digits that's the only digit with orange that can add up to 5. So this must be yellow. This yellow obviously adds up with this 6 through 9 to add up to 10. And I like color matching the 6 through 9s with their counterpart 1 through 4, because then it gives you clarity on what it is. So this one actually has to add up to 15 with the yellow 6 through 9. Well, if you think about it, what digit can this be? Or sorry, what number does this have to add up with to add up to 10? Can't be either of these two, right? If this is 1, 4, and say this was a 2, that would make this 8, which would make this 7. 7 cannot add up with 1 or 4 to add up to 10, but it can add up with 3, which would be what this would have to be to add up to 10. So if you look at that example, it makes sense though, right? So again, if this was 1 and 4, and so we had this being 2, this would make this 8, and 8 can only add up with 7 to add up to 15. 7 adds up with 3 specifically, that adds up to 10, and this has to be 3 because this is 2, right? Because 2 and 3 add up to 5. And the reason why you know this is because these two add up to 10. Therefore, the orange and its counterpart adding up to 10 would have to be the matches for this 6 through 9 and this 1 through 4. So therefore, this is the orange 6 through 9. What else can this be? Okay, so this pair of 6, 7, 8, and 9, where can they be in this box? Can't be any of the 1 through 4s, and if this were the 6, 7, 8, and 9 for either of these, the problem is where's the other one? It can't be any of these two, right? Because those specifically match. So therefore, since we know these are orange and yellow here, and this one cannot be the pink and green one, if that's the case, if only one of them could be here, this must be the yellow and orange 6 through 9. Because this is the orange and yellow 6 through 9, this cannot contain the orange and yellow 6 through 9. So this cannot be the orange or the yellow. So it must be either green or pink, 1 through 4 and 6 through 9 here. This 1 through 4 cannot be green or yellow, but it could be orange or pink. So this is orange or pink. Whichever one corresponds to orange, so if this is orange, this would have to be yellow. If this is pink, this would have to be green here. Okay. This 10 cannot be yellow or orange because the 1 through 4 for yellow and orange are both here. And therefore neither of this could be yellow or orange. So this is also green or pink as a 10. This can't be the yellow 1 through 4. But it could be the orange one, unfortunately. What else do we know? The remaining digits in this column, in this box, have to be the green 1 through 4, 6 through 9, and the pinks 1 through 4, 6 through 9, and it's 5. So that doesn't tell us much. We know, okay, so the yellow, where can the yellow be in this lower right-hand box? This yellow 1 through 4 has to be here and here. Therefore, these are eliminated from being 1 through 4 yellow in this box. This cannot be 1 through 4 yellow in this box because it requires a 6 through 9 yellow, and that's already taken by one of these two cells. Therefore, this must be the 1 through 4 yellow here. Okay. We know the orange 1 through 4 cannot be any of these cells. So it must be one of these three. So the orange 1 through 4 has to be one of those three. What else do we know? 2 out of 3 of these digits have to be the I'm gonna pause because actually I need to go to the bathroom right now. Let me pause it for a little bit. Okay, I'm back from the bathroom. Let's continue. Okay. I'm actually not sure if the way that I'm attacking this is the best. Let's take a look at 5 because 5 is heavily restricted in this puzzle. Where can 5 be? Obviously, 5 cannot be next to a v, an x, or a y, because 5 to add up to 5, obviously it would have to be 0. To add up to 10, it would have to be with a next to another 5. But obviously, by normal Sudoku rules, that's not allowed. And then to add up to 15, it has to be with 10, which is not a normal Sudoku digit. So where can the 5 be in... well, where can 5 be? So again, this is essentially an index into where the 5 is in each row. In this row, it can be 1, 4, 5, 6, or 9. So this is 1, 4, 5, 6, 9. This is also 1, 4, 5, 6, but it could be 8 or 9. This is the most broad it could be. It could be 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 9. No, it's not completely broad. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. This could be 1, 2, or 3. It cannot be 4, right? Because this can't be 4. So this is 1, 2, or 3 then, which means this has to be 2, 3, or 4 here. Okay. This cannot be here. It could be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 2 through 8. This could be 3, 4, and 8. Right, cannot be 1, 2, cannot be, could be 5. 3, 4, 5, and 8. This cannot be here. This cannot be, is 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this is also 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, does that really tell us much? Not particularly. Hmm. Okay. One thing we do have here. Okay, so that's interesting. If this is 2, 3, that's saying that the 1 in these rows has to be in 2 and 3 here, which is not possible because of normal Sudoku rules, right? So again, if this is 2, 3, this is saying 1 has to be in the second or the third column in this row, and the 1 in row 9 has to be in the second and third column. So that's not allowed. So therefore, this doesn't work. So it cannot... Okay, so that's... For any vertical 1, 4, that's always going to be the case, right? So this cannot be 2, 3. It has to be 1, 4. Same here. If this is 2, 3, that's saying 1 is in the second or third slot, and it can't actually be either. So this can't be 2 or 3, and this can't be 2 or 3, because that would say 1 is in the second or third slot column specifically, and that's not allowed. So for any vertical ones, that's interesting. It cannot be in the same, so therefore this has to be 1 or 4, right? If this tried to be 2 or 3, it doesn't work, right? If this is 2 or 3, that's saying the 1 has, oh, it's 2 has to be in the second slot. But then they would also be saying that 2 has to be in the third slot too, which is not allowed. So this is not 2 or 3. This can't be 7 or 8 then. This has to be 6 and 9, which implies that this cannot be 6 and 9, right? So if this is 6 and 9, the problem is this cell would lose all its possibilities and therefore would not be filled, which is not allowed. So this has to be specifically 7 and 8. And since this is 7 and 8, the 2 has to be in the 7th or 8th column in this row, And the 3 has to be in the second or third, 7th or 8th column in this row. So therefore, this cannot be 2, 1, 4. It has to be 2 and 3 specifically. So this is 2 or 3, which means this can't be 2 or 3. This can't be 2 or 3. Therefore, this is 6 or 9. This is 6 or 9. And the reason why this doesn't, the vertical stuff doesn't work for 2 and 3 is because they're in the same box, right? So therefore, it's saying in that box, the 2 has to be in the second or third column, and the 2 also has to be in the second and third column, and they're in the same box no matter what, which is not allowed. Therefore, this is 1 and 4. We have a 1, 4, 1, 4 pair in row 3. We also have a 6, 9, 6, 9 pair in row 3, which eliminates 6 and 9 from the rest of the column here, and 1 and 4 from the rest of the column here. This can't be 2, 3, 2, 3. One of these is 2, 3 with 7 or 8. We're not sure which. So this is 2, 3, or 7, 8. These two have to be the same digit, right? Because it adds up to 10 with one digit, and that with that same digit, it also adds up to 10, right? So one of these is 2 or 3, which means this cannot be a 2, 3, 2, 3 pair. It has to be a 1, 4, 1, 4 pair. So this specifically then has to be a yellow, right? This has to be yellow because it cannot be green because green is 2 or 3. This has to be orange, so it can't be pink. This can't be 4 because of the 1, 4, 1, 4 pair in the row. This is 6, 9 together. This is 1 or 4. And these have to be 2, 3, 7, 8. Okay, this has to be 1, 4, 1, 4. So this is also 2, 3, 7, 8. Therefore, where is a 2 and 3 in this column, right? Only one of them can be here, right? Because if you had both of them here, that would make a 2, 3, 2, 3 pair, which eliminates 2 and 3 from the rest of the column. But then you have a 7, 8, 7, 8 pair for 3 cells, which is not allowed. So one of 2 or 3 is here, the other 2 or 3 is here. And this can't be 2, 3, 7, 8 or 1 or 4. The 2, 3, 7, 8 because we have the 2, 3, 7, 8 pair in the row, and the 1, 4 because the 1, 4 pair in the box. So this has to be specifically 5, 6, or 9. This can't be 6 or 9, so it's 2, 3, or 5 because of the 6, 9, 6, 9 pair. And this could be 2, 3, 5, 6, or 9. Well, we know one of the 2 and 3 has to be here. This has to be a 2, 3 with a 7, 8 pair here to add up to 10. So this cannot be 2 or 3 because one of these has to be 2 or 3. One of these has to be 2 or 3. Therefore, this can't be 2 or 3. So this is 7, 8, which makes this 2 or 3. Again, one of these has to be 2 or 3. A 7, 8 is here, and we have a 2, 3, 7, 8 pair that adds up to 10 here. So this must be 5, 6, or 9 here. Well, it cannot be 9, because if it's 9, this would have to be 1, which is not allowed. We know out of these that the 1 in row 3 has to be either in 2 or 8. And it cannot be 8 because this can't be an 8 because of the 7, 8 pair in the box. So this has to be a 2, which makes this 3. So it's saying 1 is in the second column in this row. So this is 1, which makes that 4, which makes this 6. This can't be 2 or 3, so it must be 5, which makes this a 9. This, again, cannot be 2 or 8. This can't be 2 or 8. This can't be 2 or 8. This can't be 7 then, which makes this an 8, which makes this 2. This 8 means the 1 has to be in the 8th column. So this is 1, this is 4, this is 1, which fits here. This has to be 9 then, and this has to be 6. This can no longer be 3 or 6. This can't be 4 or 5. It cannot be 1 because, oh wait, it is 1 because 5 is in the first spot. So this is 1. Oops, this is 4. I don't know. I got it. This is 1 then. This is 4. This has to be 4. This cannot be 3 or 7. So this has to be 2 or 8. And 2 or 8 adds up with 10 with 2 or 8. So this, therefore, this is 2 and 8 here. This is 6 and 9. This can't be 4. Remaining digits. So we have an 8 here. Where is the 8 in this box? It can only be here. So this is 8. The remaining digits must be 1, 5, and 7. This can't be 1 or 5, so this is a 7. This is 1 or 5. And we know the 9 is in the first column, so this has to be a 1 then. So this must be 1, which makes this a 5. This can't be 1 or 9, so this is 4, 5, or 6. This can't be 5, so this is 9. And 5 is in the 9th slot. The 7 has to be in the 6th column, so this must be 7. And so therefore 8 is in the 4th column, so this is 8. This can't be 1 anymore. So since this can't be 1, this can't be 4. So we have a 2, 3, 2, 3 pair in this box, which eliminates 2 and 3 from the rest of the box. This can't be 9 because of this 9. This can't be 3 because of this 3, 7 pair in the row. So this is 5 or 8, 5 or 6. 7 is in the 4th slot, so this must be a 7. 8 is already in the 1st. 2 is already in the 2nd. 1 cannot be in the 5th slot, so this must be 6, which means 1 is in the 6th spot, which means this is a 1. So this can't be 6 anymore, which makes that a 9, and therefore this is 6. So it's saying 9 is in the 6th slot, so this must be a 9. This can no longer be 7. The remaining digit here is a 3. So this is 3, which means 9 is in the 3rd slot, so this is 9. This has to be 5 or 6. We have a 5, 6, 5, 6 pair in the central box, so the rest of the box cannot be contained 5 or 6. Therefore, it's 4 or 8, and this is 4 or 8. And it cannot be 8 because of the 8 here, so this must be 4, which means this must be 8. That's saying that the 5 is in the 8th spot in that row, so this is 5. This 8 also means this has to be a 5. This 5 means this can't be a 5, so this is 6, which makes that a 5. This 6 and 5 in the column means this can't be 5 or 6, so this is 4. This 4 means the 5 is in the 4th slot, so this is a 5. This has to be 6 then, because that's a remaining digit. We have 2 and 3. And 4 is in the 2nd slot, so this must be a 2, which makes this a 3. Therefore, this can't be 2, so this is 3, which makes this a 2. That's saying 5 is in the 2nd slot, so 5 has to be here. The remaining digits here are 3 and 8. Or no, not 3 and 8, 3 and 7. So 3 and 7 here. These two digits must add up to 10, and it cannot be 2, 8, 3, 7, or 4, 6, because those are all taken in one way or another, so this must be 1, 9. This 4 means this can't be 4, so this is 1, which makes this a 4. This 4 says 1 is in the 4th slot, so this must be 1, which makes that a 9. The remaining digit here is a 6, so this is a 6. And that's saying 4 is in the 6th slot, which it is. Remaining digits here are 2 and 8. Remaining digits in row 5 are 4, 7, and 8, and these can't be 4, so this must be 4 here. We also knew 3 is in the 4th spot, so that's fine. This is 7 and 8, and 8 cannot be in this box, so therefore this is 7, which makes that 8, which makes this a 2. Since this is a 2, this can no longer be 2, so this must be 3, which makes that a 2. That's saying that 7 is in the 3rd slot, so this must be 7, which makes that an 8. Remaining digits here are 1, 3, and 7 in row 6, and this can't be 3 or 7, so this is 1. This has to be 3 or 7. And it's saying 2, where is the 2? 2 is specifically in the 7th spot, so therefore this has to be a 7, which makes this a 3, which makes this 7, which makes this 3. 9 is not in the 2nd spot, so this can't be 2, therefore this must be 8, which makes this a 2. This is saying that 2 is in the 3rd slot, and it has to be there. This is saying 9 is in the 8th slot, so it has to be here. This can't be 2, so this is 8, which makes that a 2. It's also saying that 9 is in the 2nd slot, so this must be a 9. The only remaining digit now is a 6, so this is 6. And we have 5 and 8 left. This can't be 8, so this is 5, which makes that an 8. This 5 says that 3 is in the 5th spot, so this must be 3, which makes this a 7. Remaining digits here are 5 and 7. This can't be 5, so this must be 7, which makes that 5. And therefore, this must be a 6, and this must be a 3. And that's how you solve it. Yeah, I guess we didn't really need to go down the coloring. I do like coloring a lot, and probably tried to overcolor this one. Yeah, it was more just figuring out where the... It was particularly looking at the V's and the verticals, right? Because the V's had to be 1, 4 or 2, 3, and 2, 3 was never going to work out if they were in the same box. So, yeah, that was really the key to breaking into this puzzle. I guess we didn't need my coloring. Oh well, still it's kind of fun trying to color stuff. Anyways, I hope you had a fun time watching this episode of Learn How to Sudoku, and I'll see you next time on Frank Puzzles. Take care.